try. I don't know if I succeed. And that's an honest answer. And I think maybe my colleagues will join me in echoing that a little bit. I try my best to balance everything as best I can. I don't believe that I always succeed, but I do my best. What works for me is setting, for me anyways, to-do lists, planning out my day, setting specific time blocks. That works for me. I don't know if it will work for everyone, but it works for me. But the important thing I've learned from doing that over the past few years is to set realistic expectations, right? If I block out half an hour to get a task that I know is going to take me more than half an hour, I'm setting myself up for failure, right? So be realistic when you plan out your day. If you know a task is going to take you a longer period of time, set that longer period of time in, even though it's painful to see that chunk of your day gone, right? But it's better than setting something that's unrealistic and unattainable. 10 minutes in, I'm like, well, I'm not going to get this done. So now I feel bad about myself and I might just stop doing what the task is that I'm working on. So I think managing your time, but setting what you can actually get done within that time. Break your bigger projects, as we were saying before, into little chunks, right? Rather than putting it off till the last minute when you have to tackle that mountain of a task. Break it down into smaller chunks. It makes it so much more manageable, right? It's like eating food. I don't know. I'm hungry. It's around lunchtime. It's like eating food. You don't try to cram like a large 12-ounce steak in your mouth. You cut it into bite-sized pieces, right? And that's what you should do with everything that you have going on as well. Make a list of things that are due, assignments that are upcoming for the next week. If you know those in advance, and start setting a path to how you're going to accomplish each of those. And again, built in that break time too. I have break times built in every hour or so, just so I can get up, stretch my legs, get a drink of water, we give my body a rest, and then I can come back and tackle whatever it is that I'm going to tackle next. So I try my best. I'm still learning. I'm still adapting my process as I go, but that's how I go about doing it. And as a student, again, that was something that I had to develop over the course of the 4 years that I was there. I wasn't there at the beginning, but eventually I started getting more comfortable with that process.
I've used external tools as well, and I've encouraged this with my students. So you have your Outlook calendar, and you can book like meetings and everything. Well, you can just block out time on your calendar. And sometimes when I start getting in trouble and I start getting behind, I block it out. One, because then no one else, if anybody's trying to access my calendar, they know to leave me alone during that hour. And two, it just gives you that little reminder. It's time to switch from this task to this task. So if you don't know how long something is going to take, you can just say, okay, well, at least in an hour, Outlook's going to give me a little ding to remind me. And the second thing I learned from a colleague a long time ago, which I'm not really good at this, but I'm trying, is to clean up in between your tasks. So whether that be clean up your desk or whether that be to clean up your screen. Professor Gray, what happens when you have lots of tabs open in your computer? What does that do to the processing speed?
I don't know. I really can't speak because on the screen that I'm looking at is your lovely face and Eben and Joe's lovely face. And behind it, I can see a Chrome window with, I'm going to approximate 45 YouTube tabs open.
Is that me or yours?
That's mine.
Okay, good. Okay. I was like, wow, it's like you can see in my soul.
And that's
yeah.
and
so
that's
if you have that same thing in your brain, if you've got all these things open and you're like, oh, I'm going to get back to this PowerPoint, I'm going to get back to this. You are slowing down your processing time of your brain. So like when you're done with one task, put it away and then sort of try to be multitasking is not good. We do things at like 40% worse than we would have normally. So try to give your full attention to a task is my advice.
I don't have a good answer. I'm garbage at this. That if you would if I took you on a tour of my office, every piece of advice that has been given to you so far on this, you would be like, okay, he's living in filth. His computer is not organized. He's booked back to back all day, every day. He only drinks coffee. So don't. I'm a bad role model on this one.
I spent a number of years in the time management industry working with Franklin Covey and also working with daytimers. And, a truth I have found is some of the takeaways in working in the time management industry. We have discretionary time and we have non-discretionary time. And non-discretionary time is time we don't have control of. Those are the meetings, the times we're in class and so forth. Discretionary time is time that we have control of. And a good thing to do is to really track where we spend our time every day. And the thing about that is every single day we have what's called a magic 3 hours of time. It may come in the early morning, in the afternoon, at night, it may come throughout the day. But to identify when you have that magic 3 hours of time to work on your highest priorities. And, I've also found that technology is not good or bad, but it's how we use technology that can make it good or bad. Technology, it's almost like an emergency room. You're working on your computer and the notifications are coming up and you get distracted and you lose focus. So technology is not good or bad, but how we use technology may be good or bad because it says, answer me now. It's like a triage, a hospital triage where something sometimes screaming the loudest may not be the most important thing for you to be doing right now. What I find is that, we're all sort of different based upon our learning styles. And some people like the systematic approach of writing a task list. Some people are very visual in nature and you use what's best for you. But a truth that I have found over the years working in the time management industry is simply start. 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes just to start the task and then reward yourself after 5 minutes, because research has shown that if you just start a task, 85% of the task will get done in the time it's supposed to get done. I'm actually reading a wonderful book by Mel Robbins, who is one of my favorite authors. It's called The High Five Habit. She also talks about the concept of procrastination, just taking the 5 minutes as well. She also has an actual planner. And one of the things she espouses in her planner is when you focus on everything, you focus on nothing. When you really think about your day, there's really maybe, 2 or 3 critical, urgent, super important tasks that are important. There's not 50. When you focus on everything, you focus on nothing. So those are just some of the things, I've gotten, during my time management days.